You know that feeling when you're on vacation? You're standing on a street corner staring at your phone, and that little blue GPS dot is just, like, frantically spinning in circles.
Oh, the spinning dot of doom. Yeah, I know it well.
Right. You're desperately trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B. You haven't even thought about parking yet, and suddenly it hits you.
Yeah.
You've spent 3 hours of your precious hard-earned trip just, managing logistics.
Yeah.
You aren't experiencing a new city. You're basically just doing unpaid administrative work.
It's the classic vacation logistical meltdown. I mean, it is the absolute quickest way to turn a dream trip into a massive chore.
Totally.
We all like to think of travel as this breezy, spontaneous adventure where things just magically fall into place,
exactly,
right?
yeah.
Like the movies. But the reality of moving through a major, congested, geographically complex city is often just, well, highly stressful. It's so true. Well, welcome to the Travel Podcast by ExcursionPass. For today's deep dive, we are jumping right into a specific San Francisco itinerary that claims to completely eliminate that spinning blue dot syndrome.
Yeah, we're unpacking a highly rated San Francisco combo tour. It's the private Muir Woods and Golden Gate Bridge open-top Jeep tour paired with an Alcatraz Island ferry visit.
Wow, that's quite a mouthful.
It really is a mouthful.
Yeah.
But to really understand if it lives up to the hype, we've pulled together a massive stack of sources. We are cross-referencing dozens of detailed TripAdvisor reviews, logistical itineraries from ExcursionPass, and the direct fine-print notes from the operator itself.
And our mission today is to deconstruct this specific itinerary and answer your ultimate travel question. Is this combo the ultimate stress-free shortcut to seeing San Francisco's biggest icons? Or are you better off braving the logistics on your own?
Right, because we know you guys have doubts about these big combo packages. We do too. We always want to anticipate those objections. Always. Okay, let's unpack this. Because if you have ever looked at a map of San Francisco, Muir Woods looks deceivingly close. It's right there.
Yeah, just a quick hop over the bridge.
Exactly. It looks like you just take a quick left and you're among the redwoods. But the reality of getting there is a totally different story.
The map really creates an illusion of proximity. To get to Muir Woods on your own, you can't just, call a standard cab or rent a car and expect a seamless afternoon.
Oh, definitely not.
First, you have to navigate the Golden Gate Bridge traffic, which is a beast of its own. It's often heavily congested with commuters and tourists alike. Then you're dealing with the winding, often intimidating, two-lane roads of Marin County.
The cliffside ones.
Yeah, we're talking steep drop-offs, sharp hairpin turns, and frequent heavy fog.
Which is nerve-wracking enough if you aren't familiar with the area, but that isn't even the hardest part, right?
Not at all. Even if you conquer the drive, you hit the ultimate bottleneck, the parking lot at Muir Woods National Monument.
Oh, parking. The absolute nightmare.
Yeah, because the park is situated in a very narrow valley, there is virtually zero overflow parking. So to protect the fragile root systems of the redwoods and manage the massive crowds, the National Park Service implemented a strict timed entry reservation system.
Wow, so if you just show up.
If you haven't booked your parking spot weeks in advance, or if you miss your specific time window because you got stuck in bridge traffic, they will simply turn you away at the gate. There is no negotiating.
It's the complete opposite of a simple city stop. It is a highly precarious logistical puzzle. So this tour attempts to solve that massive pain point by putting you and your group of up to 6 people into a private, open-air, bright green Jeep.
Yeah, bright green. You literally cannot miss it.
And the sources show they handle these logistics with militant precision. They don't just say, meet us somewhere downtown. The meeting spot is 2870 Hyde Street in Fisherman's Wharf.
Very specific.
Right. But you aren't just standing on a random corner. You have to look for this specific bright green Jeep in the white zone on the Hyde Street side of the Argonaut Hotel. They even explicitly warn you in the booking notes, do not wait at the hotel entrance.
That level of specificity right out of the gate is a fantastic indicator of a well-run operation. They've clearly learned from past friction points.
Definitely.
By pinpointing the exact curb in a specific loading zone, they're eliminating those frantic, where are you? I'm standing by a trash can text messages that usually eat up the first 20 minutes of a tour. They're establishing control of the timeline from minute one.
That structural control is definitely a plus. But I have to play devil's advocate here because I know what you're probably thinking listening to this. You are paying a significant premium for this private Jeep experience.
Sure, it's an investment.
Right. So when you break it down, is this essentially just a glorified, expensive Uber ride across a bridge? I A bright green Uber with no roof, sure.
Mm.
But aren't you ultimately just paying someone to drive you to a forest?
What's fascinating here is how the operator fundamentally changes the nature of the transit itself. The drive doesn't just get you to the tour, the drive becomes the tour.
Oh, I see.
Think about the mechanics of a standard rideshare. You're in a closed metal box, usually staring at your phone, totally disconnected from the environment.
And just scrolling through social media.
Right. But in this open-top Jeep with a dedicated local guide, the journey across the Golden Gate is actively curated. The guide is reading the weather, monitoring the traffic, and adjusting the route in real time. They are intentionally framing the visual contrast for you.
Moving from the city to the nature.
Exactly. Moving from the dense vertical concrete of the city skyline out over the massive expanse of the ocean, and then plunging into the ancient silent forest.
We really need to emphasize that open-top part of the equation, though, because it brings up some very real conflicting viewpoints in the source material. San Francisco weather is notoriously fickle.
Oh yeah, the microclimates are intense.
Exactly. Crossing a suspension bridge in an open vehicle is not a gentle breeze. The wind whipping off the Pacific Ocean at 55 miles an hour is intense.
Very intense.
The itineraries explicitly demand that you wear layers because the coastal headlands and the deep redwood valleys can feel like two totally different climate zones on the exact same day.
Which is where the operator has to step up their hospitality to compensate. Many reviewers specifically highlighted that the guides provide heavy blankets for the ride.
That's a nice touch, for sure.
It is a necessary touch. But it's also worth noting that this specific sensory experience is not for everyone. If you dig into the nuances of the reviews, some travelers mention that the wind noise in the open Jeep makes it difficult to hear the guide during the bridge crossing.
Yeah, I can imagine shouting over the wind is tough.
Right, or that they felt freezing despite the blankets. So if your idea of luxury is a climate-controlled, whisper-quiet motor coach, this specific, rugged, wind-in-your-hair format might actually detract from your experience.
That is a crucial distinction. It's an adventure vehicle, not a limousine. But for the people who are looking for that tactile, immersive adventure, the transition from the vehicle to the human element is where this tour seems to really shine.
The guides, yeah, they make or break it.
Right. Once all the stressful logistics, the driving, the parking, the timing, once those are handed off, the actual vibe of the experience relies entirely on who is sitting in the driver's seat.
The human element is the ultimate variable in any guided experience. You can have the best logistics in the world, but a grumpy or unengaged guide will just tank the day.
And the vibe, according to the vast majority of people who have taken this tour, is immaculate. The operator, San Francisco Private Group Jeep Tours, boasts a flawless 5.0 rating across 181 reviews on TripAdvisor.
Which is wild for that many reviews.
In the travel industry, you do not maintain a perfect 5 stars over almost 200 reviews unless you are consistently over-delivering and probably performing aggressive damage control when things inevitably go sideways.
Yeah, maintaining that score requires the guides to do some heavy lifting regarding customer satisfaction. Weather ruins days, traffic causes unexpected delays, travelers show up exhausted.
People get cranky.
Oh, they get very cranky. To hold a 5.0 means these guides are experts at reading a room and pivoting the energy of the group to keep the experience positive.
The sources gave us some fantastic, highly specific insight into these guides. They are clearly the real stars of the show. Reviewers name-drop them constantly, which shows a real personal connection.
Yeah, like Bill, for example.
Yes, Bill, who is literally referred to in the reviews as a San Franciscologist.
I love that term so much.
You could just picture him pointing out the exact fault lines under the city or explaining the architectural quirks of the Marina District as you drive through.
And then there's Jojo, who reviewers rave about because he doesn't just stick to a script. He shares personal local stories and actually tailors the route to whatever the group wants to see.
That flexibility is so rare on tours.
It is the massive hidden benefit of the private small group format. In a large bus tour, the itinerary is rigid. If you see a spectacular fog formation over the Marin headlands and want to stop for a photo, a bus isn't pulling over.
No way. The driver would get in so much trouble.
Right. But if you are in a private Jeep and you want to spend a little more time at the Muir Beach overlook, taking in those sweeping Pacific views, Jojo can make that happen.
Or if you want to linger and grab a coffee in the charming Mediterranean-style marina town of Sausalito on the way back, the timeline flexes to accommodate you.
Which completely changes the dynamic of the day, from feeling like a rigid schedule to feeling like you are just exploring with a knowledgeable local friend.
Speaking of changing the dynamic, we have to talk about Kat, another guide frequently praised in the sources.
Oh, the photographer guide.
Exactly. Apparently, Kat takes on the role of personal group photographer. Reviewers mentioned she proactively takes photos of your group throughout the trip, against the best backdrops, and just airdrops them to your phone at the end of the ride.
That is a brilliant logistical hack in itself. No more awkwardly handing your expensive phone to a stranger and hoping they don't cut off the top of the Golden Gate Bridge.
We've all been there. And behind the scenes, there's Brian, who reviewers specifically thank for handling the initial booking and making the whole scheduling process totally stress-free before you even arrive in California.
They've engineered a very tight-knit, highly functional ecosystem. You aren't just buying access to a vehicle, you are buying into their local expertise, their situational awareness, and their personalities.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though.
Oh, here we go.
After all this personalized, highly interactive guiding across the bridge, through the headlands with the blankets and the photos and the stories, you finally arrive at the main event, Muir Woods. You pull up to these towering, ancient coastal redwoods, and the guide, they do not go in with you.
Nope. The guide stays in the parking lot.
The Muir Woods portion is entirely self-guided. When I first read that in the source material, I was genuinely taken aback.
Yeah.
You are paying a premium for a private guide, but they explicitly do not guide you through the actual woods.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is actually a massive, highly intentional benefit.
Really? Tell me why.
Think about the unique ecology and the environment of Muir Woods. You are walking among Sequoia sempervirens, coastal redwoods that are upwards of 250 feet tall and centuries old.
Just absolute giants.
Yeah, the sheer scale of these tree trunks is something you can only comprehend when you are physically standing underneath them, craning your neck back. The environment naturally commands a quiet, almost cathedral-like reverence.
Like you instinctively lower your voice.
Exactly. You have deeply shaded paths, the smell of damp earth and bay laurel, the quiet rustle of the wind way up in the canopy, and the muffled crunch of needles under your boots.
I see the logic now. It would be like trying to listen to a complex, emotionally moving symphony, but someone is standing right next to you reading the Wikipedia page about the composer out loud.
That is a perfect analogy.
The information might be accurate, but it completely destroys the feeling.
Precisely. The absolute last thing you want in a tranquil, ancient forest is a tour guide walking backward, shouting historical facts about root systems through a megaphone, or even just chatting in your ear.
Yeah, that sounds awful, actually.
Right. The sensory experience of Muir Woods is the attraction. The operator strategically gets you there. They frame the geographical and historical context of the region during the drive, and then they respectfully step back.
They give you the space to absorb the nature at your own pace.
In silence, yeah, without someone managing your every step.
It preserves the magic of the woods by removing the tourist scaffolding for an hour. But there is a crucial bit of fine print here that you need to be aware of if you are booking this.
Good point, the entrance fee.
Yeah, while the Jeep, the transit, and the bridge tolls are covered, the actual admission fee to enter Muir Woods is not included in the tour price. It is a $15 per adult fee that you have to pay yourself directly at the park entrance.
It's a relatively small detail in the grand scheme of the trip costs, but you definitely don't want to be caught off guard digging for your wallet when you thought every single thing was prepaid.
Exactly. You want to be prepared.
It is a very common practice when dealing with federal parklands. The National Park Service requires direct collection to ensure the funds go toward conservation and park maintenance. But yes, transparency is key here. You are paying the private operator for the seamless transit, the guaranteed parking access, and the curated scenic routing.
But the federal government still collects their entry fee at the physical gate.
Right.
So you finish your serene, quiet walk among the giants, you get back in the Jeep, maybe cruise through Sausalito, and then we hit the second half of this massive combo tour. And tonally, this is a massive whiplash.
Oh, completely. It's a huge contrast.
How does an itinerary transition from the natural, peaceful beauty of ancient redwoods to the harsh, historical, concrete reality of a notorious island prison?
It is a profound psychological shift. You are going from the absolute heights of open nature to the grim depths of human confinement. And logistically, this is where the tour requires a major, highly coordinated handoff in the timeline.
Right, because this is an instant teleportation. The morning Jeep tour usually takes about 3 to 4 hours. After the Marin County exploration, the Jeep heads back across the bridge into the city and drops you off at Pier 33 on the Embarcadero.
Where the ferries depart.
Yep. This combo includes guaranteed Alcatraz tickets, which is a huge asset because those ferries regularly sell out months in advance. The tickets themselves are valued at $47.95, and your ferry departure will be scheduled somewhere between 11:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m.
And the operator intentionally manages the morning timeline so that you arrive at the pier with a comfortable buffer. Maybe time to grab a quick clam chowder and a bread bowl before you slide right into your assigned ferry slot.
Oh, I love a good bread bowl at the wharf.
Me too. The buffer is critical. If you were managing this yourself, the anxiety of getting stuck in traffic on the way back from the woods and missing your non-refundable ferry would ruin the entire morning. The guides absorb that time management stress for you.
Now, regarding the cost for this entire meticulously planned day, the pricing structure we found across our sources is highly dynamic.
Yeah, it jumps around a bit.
ExcursionPass lists the combo starting at $157 for adults. Meanwhile, the TripAdvisor listing shows it starting from $322, but that price varies wildly depending on your group size, up to the maximum of 6 people.
That dynamic pricing is a direct reflection of the private nature of the Jeep portion. Think of it like chartering a small boat. The overhead cost of the vehicle, the fuel, the insurance, and the guide's time is relatively fixed.
Makes sense.
So if you are a solo traveler or a couple, you are bearing the brunt of that overhead. But if you have a family of 5 or 6, you divide that fixed cost among more people, and the per-person rate drops significantly, bringing it closer to that $157 mark.
It rewards groups, which is logical. But here is my biggest objection to this entire package. You know we like to anticipate those doubts here.
Lay it on me.
The Jeep guide, who you have bonded with all morning, just drops you at the pier and basically says, good luck.
Yeah.
You take the ferry to Alcatraz on your own, you do the prison tour on your own, and there is absolutely no return transportation back to your hotel afterward.
That's right.
For that premium price, shouldn't it be a seamless door-to-door experience for the entire day? You are paying for luxury, and then you are just left at the docks.
This raises an important question about how we fundamentally value guided tours and what we are actually paying for. The sheer genius of this specific operator is that they strategically bundle the high-stress, high-friction elements of the day.
Where you going?
They hold your hand through navigating the bridge traffic, managing the winding Marin County cliff roads, and dealing with the Muir Woods parking nightmare.
They eliminate the spinning blue dot.
Exactly. They solve the problems you cannot easily solve yourself, but they intentionally leave you independent in the places where a private guide would just be a third wheel.
Interesting way to look at it.
Alcatraz is world-renowned for its award-winning self-guided audio tour. The National Park Service has engineered an incredibly immersive audio experience featuring the actual recorded voices of former guards and inmates.
Wow, really? The actual voices?
Yes. You put the headphones on and you hear the metallic clang of the cell doors shutting. You hear stories of specific escape attempts while you are standing in front of the exact air vents they chipped away at. You hear Al Capone's banjo playing in the shower room.
Okay, when you describe it like that, having Bill, the San Franciscologist, walking next to you, tapping you on the shoulder while you were literally listening to the recorded memories of an Alcatraz warden in your ear, that would be entirely redundant.
It would ruin the immersion.
Yeah, it would be incredibly frustrating.
The audio tour allows you to walk at your own pace, to pause the track and step inside a 5x9 cell, and to really feel the isolation of the island. And as for the lack of return transportation from Pier 33 when you get back, that is actually a feature, not a bug.
A feature? Really? How so?
It gives you the ultimate freedom. Exploring Alcatraz usually takes about 2 to 3 hours. When you take the ferry back to the city, you might be exhausted and want to grab a cab straight to your hotel. Or you might feel energized and want to walk along the Embarcadero, see the sea lions at Pier 39, or sit down for a massive seafood dinner at Fisherman's Wharf.
Ah, I see. If you had a dedicated driver waiting for you at the pier, you would be constantly checking your watch.
Exactly, you would be on the clock. By severing the tour at the pier, the formal, highly managed portion ends, and your evening in San Francisco begins on your own terms. You aren't beholden to anyone else's schedule anymore.
That reframes the drop-off entirely. It goes from feeling like an abandonment to feeling like a very intentional release back into the wild. You get the curated, highly managed, stress-free morning to conquer the impossible logistics. And then you get a totally independent, immersive afternoon. So, what does this all mean?
Well, when we look at all the sources, the glowing reviews, the dynamic pricing, and the clever timeline management, the verdict is that this is a masterclass in travel efficiency.
Yeah, it really seems to be.
It is custom built for families, small groups, or first-time visitors who are looking to compress what would normally be two exhausting, logistically heavy days of stressful sightseeing into one seamless, highly customized adventure. It takes the absolute hardest parts of visiting the Bay Area and literally turns them into a joyride.
It really does seem like the ultimate logistical hack for anyone who values their time and their sanity while on vacation.
But I'd like to leave you with a broader thought to mull over regarding this whole concept of frictionless travel.
Okay, let's hear it.
We are increasingly willing to pay a premium to remove the struggles of getting lost, hunting for parking, or stressing over ferry schedules. But does removing that friction take away from the raw authenticity of exploring a new place?
That's a good point.
Sometimes getting hopelessly lost in a new neighborhood is exactly how you stumble upon the best hidden gem of your trip. The struggle can build the memory.
Yeah, some of my best travel stories start with getting on the wrong train.
Right. Or, on the flip side, does paying for that logistical ease simply free up your mental bandwidth? Does removing the stress allow you to actually be present in the moment, to truly marvel at the towering scale of a 250-foot redwood, and to fully absorb the imposing historic weight of Alcatraz without part of your brain anxiously calculating where you parked the rental car?
That is the ultimate trade-off of modern travel, isn't it? You have to decide if the struggle is a meaningful part of the journey or if it is just an obstacle in the way of the destination.
Well, the next time your GPS dot starts spinning in circles on the street corner, you'll have to decide if you want to fight the friction or just book the bright green Jeep. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive on the travel podcast by Excursion Pass. Keep exploring, stay curious, and we will catch you on the next one.